Welcome to another video about my Golf GTD. This time, I thought I would look at something a bit different and talk about the money side of things. And that's because I had a thought recently about car leasing, which is a subject I know a little bit about. I was curious to know how the figures would look if I had leased my GTD, rather than what I actually did, which was to purchase it outright. When looking for a new car, a lot of people might ask themselves the question, should I lease or buy my car? And I hope this video will help you decide what to do if you're wondering which option to choose. Because I have had my car for a while now, I wanted to go through some numbers based on two scenarios. The first being, what if I had only kept my car for 3 years? And then do the same comparison based on how long I have actually had my car, which at the time of filming is just over 8 years. The good thing here is that my running costs and valuations are actual, so there are less assumptions made, so this should give us a really good insight. So let's get stuck into some numbers. From memory, my car's list price was around £27,000, including metallic paint in late 2015, which is approximately $34,000. The way I bought this car was a bit unusual in that I used a particular finance agreement which would allow me to get a better discount than if I had opted to pay cash. I then paid the finance off early. The final payment, or guaranteed value to hand the car back if I'd kept the agreement live for 3 years, was £14,400 based on 10,000 miles per annum. This final payment gives us a good indication of what my car would have been worth back in 2018. Allowing for any interest I paid, I ended up paying quite a bit less than the list price. Once I had paid off the finance agreement early, I had paid around £25,000 including interest, which is about $31,500. This equated to around 8% discount after taking into account the interest I paid. So that's the cost of the car back in 2015 covered. As you may or may not be aware, there are generally two areas of car leasing, personal and business leasing. How much you pay per month is usually based on your annual mileage, whether or not you decide to include a maintenance pack, and over what term you set the agreement up for. For ease, as my car is my own personal car, I'm going to run the figures based on a personal lease. So, firstly, let's look at how the lease versus purchase numbers work over the most common leasing period, which is 3 years. There are other finance products that will enable you to finance a car for longer than 3 years, but that's for another video. And as a side note, if you would like me to do an in-depth car leasing video, for example, business leasing versus personal leasing, or anything else related to leasing, let me know in the comments. So let's look at the 3-year numbers. So my car cost me approximately £25,000 new. In the first 3 years, I had 1 service and 2 front tyres at a total cost of £227, and I covered just over 22,000 miles. That's £25,227 in total. Assuming my car would have been worth £14,400 to hand back and walk away, this would mean it would have cost me £10,827. However, I remember that a Golf GTD of that age and mileage in 2018 was worth a little bit more than £14,400. But let's ignore that for now. The leasing figures back in 2015 over 3 years were £325 per month, including VAT, based on paying an initial rental of 3 months in advance, followed by 35 monthly rentals. That's 38 payments in total, being a total of £12,350, excluding any maintenance that may have cropped up. So I know I would have saved at least £2,000 in the first 3 years by not leasing my GTD if I'd only kept it for that long. Now, let's go to the extreme and look at how the figures work out over a whopping 8 years. This is where it gets interesting. Over this period, I've had 4 services, 6 MOTs, 1 cam belt change, a replacement glow plug, a bird strike repair to the ACC, and 8 new tyres including punctures. This has cost me a total of £2,876 over 8 years. My current mileage is around 71,500 miles as of December 2023, and if I was going to sell it privately, I would need to get a bit of paintwork done and a little bit of wheel refurb, as there are a few bruises here and there on my car. I reckon this would come in at around £500 max, so let's add that to the 8-year running costs I've already mentioned. This brings the total including the purchase price to £28,376 or $35,700. The next bit is to find out how much my car has depreciated over 8 years. I find the best way to do this is to have a look at similar cars on either the main dealer's website or on Auto Trader and see how they are priced. My car is too old to have much luck on Volkswagen's used car site, so let's just stick to Auto Trader and pop in my car details and see what comes up. I'll also take a look at We Buy Any Car for a rough trade or part exchange figure. I like to do a national search, and by the way, this postcode is for Buckingham Palace. Why not, eh? So let's search by filtering out some of the cars we don't need and just stick with Volkswagen and Golf. And then we'll look at the GTD. We may as well stick to hatchback. And I'm going to trim the mileage to as close as I can. My car, as I've mentioned before, has got 72,000 miles on it roughly. Manual gearbox, we know it's diesel. And then I'll pick the year as 2015 to 2015. I don't want to overinflate any prices here, so I'm just going to keep everything as tight as I can. 5 doors, just check there's no other filters. I don't think so. There's only 10 cars to look through, and I'll search it by the lowest price first. Okay, so about £10,000 for this one here. 2015 plate, mine's a 65, so it's a bit older, and nearly 80,000 miles on this one. Let's have a look, see if it's got any leather or anything like that. Okay. Looks fairly standard. No leather. Similar to my car without the metallic paint. Okay, let's have a quick look down. So we've got some at about 10,500. Again, higher mileage. Let's have a look at this one and see if it's got any obvious extras over and above what my GTD has got. No, it looks fairly similar. Let's just check the spec. All fairly standard. Cruise, parking sensors. Can't see anything obviously extra there. No. I won't go through everything, we just want to get a rough price here. Auto Trader throwing in a Vauxhall Mocha in the mix. And then I think if we scroll down, yeah, and then the most expensive car, Auto Trader looks like it's saying that this one is a higher price as well. Trade, 13,500, 76,000 miles. Let's have a look. Could have cleaned the alloys, couldn't they? Okay, leather seats, so potentially a higher spec than mine. Okay, so 13,500 down to about 10,000. Okay, so let's have a look at We Buy Any Car, just to get an idea of a trade price. We Buy Any Car comes out at £8,500, but they may reduce the price when I get there for the odd scuff here and there will be some admin fees to pay, no doubt. Bearing all of this in mind, I reckon I would get interested around £10,000 for a one-owner, well cared for GTD to keep the numbers simple. So back to depreciation. Let's assume I could sell my car for £10,000. I can then work out how much it has depreciated since new. The difference between the purchase cost and the value now is £15,000. Add this to my running costs and pre-sale prep costs of £3,376 and we come to a grand total cost of £18,376, approximately $23,000, or £190, $239 per month, rounded up to easy figures. So how much would my car have cost me if I leased it over this term? The attraction of leasing is that you get a new car every 2, 3 or 4 years, and therefore you should save on maintaining an older car and have the bang up-to-date specification and tech. This obviously doesn't apply in my case. You could say I've missed out, but it's good fun to do the numbers. Another benefit when leasing a car is that you don't have to part with too much cash at the outset, which may be an important consideration for some. As I mentioned earlier on in this video, a personal lease over 3 years doing 10,000 miles a year, paying 3 months rentals in advance, followed by 35 rentals, came out at £325 per month including VAT. So 38 payments in all. This works out at £12,350 over the term of a 3-year contract. This didn't include maintenance, by the way, and I would then have to hand the car back at the end of the agreement and replace it with another new car. So let's assume I leased another GTD for another 3 years after that. The chances are the monthly rentals would have increased, unless I stumbled across a good deal, but let's assume the monthly rentals stayed the same, just so I don't overinflate any figures. That's another £12,350, and then I'll need to order another shiny new car. Maybe we can see where this is going already. So that's 6 years covered. So we need another 2 years of leasing payments to bring us up to 8 years I've had my car, just so we have an accurate comparison. Averaging £12,350 we have over 3 years, we get a total of £8,233 in leasing payments over 2 years, which is the remaining lease term we need to bring us up to the 8 years in total. So now, adding all of those leasing payments together over the 8 years, we get a total of £32,933, plus my actual maintenance costs of £3,376. That's a grand total of approximately £36,000, $45,200, if I had leased my car over 8 years, versus the £18,376 it has actually cost me so far. That's double. I haven't allowed for the fact that the pre-sale preparation cost I'd budgeted for earlier may be chargeable by leasing companies when you hand the car back, depending on their terms and conditions, so this could be an additional leasing cost. I've also not allowed for the fact that, technically, I still have my car and don't need to renew a lease. I've really enjoyed doing this exercise because now I know that I have saved myself at least £17,600, $22,000. This is obviously helped by the fact that I've kept my car for longer than I expected to. And if I cashed in and actually sold my GTD, I might also have as much as £10,000 to add to this saving. Even if I am a few £1,000s out, I think we can see that I definitely made the right choice, albeit not intentional at the time. Of course, I realise I haven't been driving around in the latest model, and that doing this exercise on an 8-year-old car I've owned since new exaggerates the figures somewhat. If we look back at the 3-year figures, there's not such a big difference. As it stands, I'm more than happy to drive around in what is still a cracking car with decent spec, but maybe I will change it soon. We'll see. I hope my experience of owning a car versus leasing one has been an interesting insight for you and that this video has been useful. It would also be really interesting to know which option you usually prefer in the comments. I'm also planning to put together some more information on how best to buy or lease a car to save money. There are so many ins and outs on the subject to know about. So please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any car finance related suggestions you would like me to cover, please also let me know in the comments. Until the next time.